Hi everyone, you should be on your notes EE1. This is the first set of notes for expressions. An expression is a combination of numbers, variables, and operations. So that's your definition of an expression. It is a combination of numbers, variables, and operations. So right below that definition, you have an example of an expression. 2x plus 3y minus 4x plus 10. An expression has parts, and when we look at the parts of the expression, we're going to look at terms, constants, and coefficients. So let's first talk about terms. The terms of the expression are the parts of the expression separated by a plus or minus sign. So when we look at the terms, and let's look at the terms of the expression on the notes, I have 4 terms. I have 2x, I have 3y. Now, that minus sign, remember that we always add a line and change that sign, so that's actually negative 4x and 10. Those are the 4 terms of my expression. 2x, 3y, negative 4x, positive 10. They're separated by an addition or subtraction sign. The constant is a number by itself, no variable. So in this expression, I have one constant, and that's 10. A coefficient is a number with the variable. So I have 3 terms that have numbers with variables. So my coefficients are 2, 3, and negative 4. So I have the 2 with the x, the 3 with the y, and the negative 4 with the x. And then finally, when I talk about an expression, I'm always going to look for like terms. And like terms have the same variable raised to the same power. Now remember that a variable is just a letter that we use to replace numbers in math. So in that expression, my variables are x and y. Well, my like terms are going to be those terms that have the exact same variable raised to the same power. Now this expression does not have any exponents, so I only need to look at the x's. So I only actually have one pair of like terms, and that would be 2x and negative 4x, because again, that negative sign stays with the number. So now that I know what an expression is, now that I know the parts of the expression, I want to know what can I do with the expression. Well, what we do with an expression is we simplify it. And when we simplify an expression, that means we combine like terms, and if there are fractions, we simplify or reduce all fractions. So that when I simplify an expression, I combine like terms, simplify all fractions. All right, let's flip over to the back of the notes, and let's talk about how we combine like terms. So there are some things that you want to remember when you combine a like term. The first thing is it must have the same variable. Now when I mean same variable, I mean same variable. If there's an x, it has to be just a single x, not x and xy. These are not like terms. It must be raised to the same power. So again, not x and x squared. These are not like terms. Numbers by themselves, and remember, we call those numbers by themselves constants, are always added together. And when you're identifying like terms, circle the term and the sign in front of it. Okay, because I want to make sure that that negative sign, that subtraction sign, stays with the number. And then always remember that integers are key components here. You must follow your integer operation rules. Always. So, let's take a look at my first example. Okay, my first example is negative 2x plus 3y minus 4x minus 9y plus 2x. Now, what I would recommend doing if you have colored pencils or if you have two different colored markers, that really helps you to identify your like terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle all of my x's. And notice that I am circling all of those with an x. I started to circle the 9y, but it's not a like term. So I have negative 2x. I have negative 2x. I have negative 4x. And I have positive 2x. Right? Those are my like terms. When I combine like terms, I can only add or subtract the numeric coefficients. Okay? I can't add or subtract the x's. So I have a negative 2, negative 4, which is negative 6, plus positive 2 is negative 4. So when I combine those three terms, I get negative 4x. Now I'm going to combine my y's. So I have positive 3y and negative 9y. And again, 3y and negative 9y, well, 3 plus negative 9 is negative 6, and I need to bring down my y. So that my expression, simplified, is negative 4x plus negative 6y, or I can just rewrite that negative 4x minus 6y. That's simplified terms. Now, if you don't have two different colored pencils or two different highlighters, you can always circle and box, and that's what I'm going to do in the next example. So remember, you always want to identify your like terms. So I have a 3x, and I have a negative 3x. Well, 3x and negative 3x, well, that's going to be 0, because I have opposites, and when I add opposites, I get 0. I'm going to put a box around 6y and a box around 7y. So now I want to add 6y and 7y. Well, 6y plus 7y, or 6 plus 7, is 13. And 13y, because I have to keep that variable with it, is my simplified expression. Okay, let's look at number 2. And I'm going to go back to using colored pencils just because it's a little easier for you to see that. Again, I have a 3x and a negative 2x. So I am going to combine 3x, negative 2x. That's going to give me 1x, or just x. And then I'm going to combine 2y and 5y, so 2y plus 5y, that's going to be 7y. And now I need to just combine those back together again. So this will be x plus 7y. Okay. Now, again, you don't have to show the 1 there. 1 times any number is that number. So x plus 7y is that one simplified. Okay, let's look at number 3. So here again, all I'm doing is I am just circling my like terms, and then I'm combining them. So I have a 4a, and I have a 10a. So 4a plus 10a is 14a. I have negative 3b and positive 4b. So negative 3b, positive 4b. Negative 3 plus positive 4 is 1. And then I need to just bring the b. So my expression is 14a plus 1b, or just b. And finally, number 4. Again, I have a negative 3x, I have a positive 5x, and I have a positive 5x. So I need to combine those three terms. Negative 3x, 5x, and 5x. Okay, well, 5 plus 5 is 10, minus 3 is 7. So when I combine those terms, I get 7x. Now, notice I just have a negative 2y by itself. So all I need to do now is just rewrite this as 7x minus 2y. So I'm kind of collecting those terms and adding them together. If you have any questions, bring them to class tomorrow.